The smile on my face just means one thing, and what that means is that it's at 10:30 a.m. on the largest television network in Africa, NTA, and of course it's time for the longest running independent sports show on Nigerian television. It is HotSports, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It gives me great pleasure to have you join us at this time, and remember that it's a particular port where we talk about everything sports, and especially when we have a particular debate going forward. My name is Babajide Guerrero, and I'm not alone in the studio today. I've got with me two fine young men cutting their teeth as some of the finest sports analysts in this country. First off is Dari Ogun. How are you doing, Dari?
I'm fine. Good morning. It's good to be here. I have a whole lot of things to talk about in the world of sports.
Absolutely.
But it's a pleasure to be here once again.
Absolutely. All right. So of course, joining him in that debutant field is Agada Adamson. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm fine. Good morning. It's good to be here. We talk lots of football and sports in general. For me, I'm looking forward to see the Tigers play in the Afro-basket.
Yeah. So let's just be realistic. What do you think is the realistic chance of those girls?
You want to look at the fact that they just they came into camp some few weeks back, and since they are the defending champions, they are traveling to Senegal to play one of the best teams in Africa. Senegal, the 11th champions of the female Afro-basket in Africa. I think the girls can go all the way to retain their championship.
Of course, we will be singing the praises, and of course, I'm looking forward to the Digress giving us the goods over there in Dakar, Senegal. We'll go for a quick break. And remember, last week we did mention that we want to go heavy on some certain sports, basketball and of course rugby. And hey, enjoy this special package on rugby. We'll be right back after this.
They've started, and at their different levels, the leagues are pretty exciting. The Lagos League, the Northern League, which is the oldest in the country, and the newly birthed South-South-Southeast League. They're all doing very well. Robust rugby is being played, and I think the standards are improving. We will be going to Madagascar to play against them. They're a good team, an experienced team, and we also hear that rugby is big news there. They are one of the few African countries that command high gate fees for rugby matches. So it will be quite an experience to go there. However, we're a bigger country, a more populous country, and in terms of talent, I think we are much, much better rugby players. So my expectation is that it will be a tough match, a competitive match, but with our talent and, of course, like I said, we've got an internationally rated coach. We will prepare well, and I believe we will win.
The Nigerian national basketball women's team, the Tigers, are set to defend their title at this year's Afro-Basket Women competition, which kicks off this weekend in Dakar, Senegal.
I think we're just as good. Everybody came in focused, ready to compete and ready to play, and now we're just ready to get to Senegal and do the best we can. Pretty tough. I mean, they call us the Tigers for a reason. We're ready to hunt, we're ready to kill, we're ready to go out there and fight. Yes, it has allowed us to come together, find chemistry with the team, become a family, and just build that chemistry that we need on the court.
The 2019 Afro-Basket Women competition holds from 10th to 18th August 2019.
I think this year is going to be better than last year because right now we have more post players, and especially for me, I need some help. And right now I have V and Pal, so I think they're going to help us. So I'm really happy to see them here to help us and contribute to the team. We've been working really hard, beating ourselves up here, trying to help each other to make sure we get better. And like you can see, right now we're about to play the boys, and we're going to show you what we've been doing. And by the grace of God, we will. So we're going to bring the title back home because it's what we do best. So we're going to go there. We're going to take it one step at a time. But at the same time, we know why we're there. So we're going to make sure we defend our title and bring it back home.
It will also be the first step for the qualification of FIBA Africa for the women's basketball tournament at the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, Japan.
I think we're almost the same, if not a little better. You know, new additions always make the team better just because you have different dynamics and they bring something new to the team. So I think we're still, you know, at the level that we were at the World Cup, but maybe a little better. But you just have to wait and see. I think that we still have the same identity. We haven't changed much at all. So our identity is to be intense and to be tough and to take pride in our defense as well as our attack and as far as rebounding, offensive rebounds, and just continue to push and not let other teams feel comfortable.
The top 6 teams will be qualified for the Africa pre-qualifying tournament for the Olympics. Alex Iwobi's late transfer deadline move to Everton was a big shocker to teaming followers of the Super Eagles playmaker. Many had expected that he would have stayed a bit longer, considering the fact that he started with the Gunners from infancy.
Well, I've been there since I was at the age of 6, so for me to be there and still playing for the team I've grown up in right now is like a dream come true. Long may it continue. I'm proud to wear the Arsenal colours and the Arsenal shirt.
With a £60 million offer for winger Wilfred Zaha, turned down by Crystal Palace, a last-minute £35 million done deal for Iwobi appeared to be the best option for Everton.
FIFA standards are FIFA standards. We had to submit a bid document 968 pages long, and I'm sure you know that would mean a lot of work, both in substance and in academics. We did that, and of course they went through everything before deciding that we had a competent bid and that would qualify for an inspection like this. So that is why we are here. We cannot assume that it's all done until it is finally done. We have had about 7 or 8 considerations. The consideration number 1 is the popularity of women's football in the area concerned. Consideration number 2, availability of basic facilities. Consideration number 3, the support of the state government. Consideration number 4 is whether the area is marketing savvy. Consideration number 5, of course, the ability to fill the stadium and such other places, and then the convenience of providing and managing a compact event for FIFA. So these were some of the considerations that we had before deciding on the venues. Now, as it is, Lagos is likely to have two centers. You know, it's a 16-team tournament. If we have 2 centers in Lagos, one will be on the island, one will be on the mainland. And we have commensurate facilities in the other areas, technical areas, hospital, the hotels, and such other services. We have them on the island and we have them on the mainland. So this is the idea. Then we will have a center each in Benin, Asaba, and Uyo. Kaduna has been under consideration for some time, but as you and I understand, some of the events of the last few days, including the problem we had at the ITO Cup final, have stepped down the consideration for Kaduna at this inspection. But we have continued with the work to upgrade facilities in Kaduna in the hope that the next inspection will visit Kaduna.
Lagos has always been ready, you know, and we have seen and quite impressive, from the hotels to the hospital to the stadium, and is all the facilities daring. So I believe Lagos is good to go, you know, and that's the truth. And the narrative here is that Lagos is 100%. This is not new. Lagos is not new to FIFA. I mean, this stadium 10 years ago hosted the semi-finals of FIFA Under-17 World Cup. The hotels, nothing is new to Lagos. So to me, Lagos is ready. The tournament is in September next year. You know, that's about 13 months away. And you can see the level. The turf in the next 2-3 months, based on my experience, is ready to go. Everything here just needs a bit of upgrade because it's the same facilities that FIFA, even what FIFA would do with junior tournament, what's called the Kaide charge, the condition of hosting has been reduced. Not even what we had 10 years ago. So this one is super ready. Trust me. I'm in the organizing committee for FIFA competitions.
Permanent Secretary in the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports, Mr. Olushade Adeshola, has urged Nigerian athletes participating in the 12th edition of the African Games coming up in Rabat, Morocco, from 16th to 30th of August to put in their best to make the country proud.
One of our missions in undertaking this visit is to inspire them, to encourage them, and to also assist them to appreciate the task before them. In the story I gave them, I made them to appreciate the fact that nothing that anyone can give you in this as a reward now that can equal what you stand to benefit from a successful outcome. That's why I encourage them to see their effort as someone that is building a cathedral for themselves and not somebody just earning a living or breaking stone. If you look at your participation as earning a living, it is very ephemeral. The result is little. But when you look at the long-term value of your endeavor, yes, it's more lasting.
He also speaks on Nigeria's contingent to the African Games.
The country has given them the platform to build. It has given them the training. It has given them the camping. It has given them the opportunity to wear the national color, to represent the country. And it's also taking them there. So the building work is largely theirs, not that of the country for them. However, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari has always been appreciative of the efforts of these individuals. And that's why when requests are made, in spite of the tight financial situation of the country, provisions have always been made to support this effort. At the end of the day, you will see that not all the countries can even come with contingent that they will have come with. Because it's not only Nigeria that is experiencing economic crunch, but we are going with an athlete population of 366, coaches of 58, primary officials of 114. If you add these three together, it is not a small contingent. So we are going there. We want to really showcase our capability.
Adeshola also emphasized other benefits of taking part in the African sports competition.
But on the other side of it, when you are participating in sports, it's not just for winning too. It is also to build friendship, to establish relationship. I believe through this, our participation, Nigeria will also be able to achieve some diplomatic mileages that will promote the image of Nigeria in the continent.
The Permanent Secretary also addressed the issue of international exposure for Nigerian athletes before the big competitions.
The exposure is there for most of the federations, not just for badminton and table tennis. You see, in 2015, when Barrister Solomon Seka Abdalon came in, he met a situation on ground where his successors in office have always appointed presidents and members of the board of federations. So this situation had resulted to a patronage system of board. But when he came in, he said, no, let us change to a committee system of board appointment. Let all the boards be by election. Democratically elected. People came to contest. With what outcome? The athletes, the members of those that are really interested in that sport, they know who will really promote their interest. So at the end of the day, many who had been there for years, who were only waiting for government allowances, for funding from government, fell by the wayside.
He called on the sports associations to reach out for capable leaders with the 2020 Tokyo Olympics fast approaching.
A lot of this effort and to give visibility to this federation rests on the board of the federation. The Olympic will soon be here. It will soon be another time to elect board members to the governing board of the federation. My advice to the federation is they should elect persons that will represent them well and fairly.
The biggest squash tournament in Nigeria, the Kagos Merchant Express Closed and Club Invitation and Junior and Senior Professional Tourney stroked off on Wednesday evening on the squash courts of the Lagos Country Club Squash section. It promises to be a week-long of exciting squash action as the tournament takes more bigger strides in its 15th edition in the squash annual calendar for the domestic scene.
As you can see, we have been sponsoring Carglass Merchant Express Squash Tournament for the past 14 years, so this is the 15th edition. And it is mainly because of my passion for the sport, for squash itself. I'm a squash player myself. I've been playing squash now for close to 40 years, and I enjoy the game. I benefit a lot from it. Since we started, we have had quite some encouragement, especially the inclusion of the youths in the tournaments. We have encouraged, we started with the youths under 6, that's just introducing children to squash. We have under 10, under 12, under 16, under 19, and then we have those that started as kids 15 years ago are now playing professional squash, both locally and internationally, and we're quite happy about that.
The tournament, which has assumed an international status, will attract top Nigerian professional squash players, including players from other countries.
It has been very exciting. The one that we are having this year is even a very special one, different from the one that we've been having before. The previous edition of the tournament has always been one where we only invite clubs, and we also have what we call the closed category, where we play amongst ourselves as members. But we've taken it up this year. We are now going to invite professionals, and some of those professionals may probably even come outside the country. Information that I have is that we may likely have 2 Egyptians who will participate, because the prize money, the prizes that we are going to have now includes the money that we are going to pay maybe in foreign currency, and that probably has attracted some participation even from outside Nigeria.
And we are back, and of course what we're discussing this morning is, will the FIFA transfer ban affect Chelsea's rating this season? My gentle guys are still very much in the studio, Dari Ogun and Agada Adamson.
Well, history have shown that Chelsea are a fantastic team when it comes to being pushed to the wall. And when you give them the opportunity to bounce back, irrespective of what they have done in the transfer market, they can always do the unthinkable.
Yeah, I think Chelsea are not going to be strong this season. They might fall off the pace. They might not qualify for the Champions League. Take, for instance, they brought an inexperienced Andres Villas-Boas. The season they won the Champions League, but come on, he was sacked in mid-season, and this guy Roberto Di Matteo came on to win the Champions League for Chelsea. And same thing now, they're bringing an inexperienced Frank Lampard to tell these guys to go their way. I don't think he's going to do well.
And we are back. So, gentlemen, Dari Ogun and Adamson, let's just go for it. Dari, starting with you.
Well, just like I said earlier, in 2012-2013, we all thought it's over for Chelsea. But guess what? They were able to get into the final of the Champions League against all odds, even against Napoli. They were down and out. They did the unthinkable. And when they got to the final, particularly against Bayern at the Allianz Arena, excuse me, they were still able to do it and defeated them at the Allianz Arena. Going forward, look at what happened just last season. Mauricio Sarri was down, and even the fans were at some point booing him. But what happened? He ended up at the third on the table and was still able to leave the Europa League. Leave that aside as well. Look at the quality they have when it comes to, the underage players coming through the ranks. One of the biggest prospects in the world of football coming through the ranks right now is Callum Odoi. Look at, he's valued at some point as one of the most expensive players, and he's doing very well for himself.
Okay, Dari, sorry to cut you. You mentioned 2012 when Chelsea won the Champions League. Come on, the kind of player, the caliber of players there right now, not the same players they have. Take for instance, now they've sold, we're hearing confirmation that they must have sold David Luiz to us now. Come on, some of these big guys are not there. Gary Cahill was there when they won the Champions League. He's no longer there in Chelsea. Now you're saying Chelsea, Frank Lampard can go all the way to win for Chelsea. I don't think that's possible. Now the reason is this.
The good thing about what you said.
How many games has Hudson Odoi played?
You know the good thing about what you said is that even when Didier Drogba was scoring in the final, Didier Drogba was tagged to be dead and out. He was a tired leg. But this time around, Chelsea don't have a tired leg. They have a fresh leg.
Who is the present striker for Chelsea Football Club right now?
History have proven that we don't
Tammy
really
Abraham
philosophy of football right now. You don't really need a centre forward to get goals into the back of the net.
Chelsea takes on Manchester United.
Chelsea don't have a quality striker last season, but we are still able to finish ahead of the team.
Higuain was there. Don't forget.
Was Higuain a quality striker last season?
One key player that scored 16 goals and 15 assists for Chelsea, Eden Hazard, is no longer in Chelsea.
The good thing about this,
who is going to replace Eden Hazard in that Chelsea front line?
Gentlemen, I think this is another significant question that Adams Industries, I think we should address it. A lot of Chelsea fans are looking forward to this particular season, and they're not even looking at it with a lot of expectation, because at least a 15-goal, 15-assist kind of player is not out of there. How do you think they can survive this, Dari?
Now, we said this before in 2013, when the likes of the Drogba were leaving, the experience, the old war us. What happened? The same inexperience, Eden Hazard came into the team and was able to put this team on his shoulder. We now have a Pulisic coming into the team as well. You can say he's inexperienced, just the same way Eden Hazard was coming as being inexperienced. Excuse me, and he was still able to do the job.
Eden Hazard was not inexperienced. Eden Hazard came from the French league. He was the highest goal scorer for Lille.
If we have to rate the French league and the German Bundesliga, then you will agree with me that even the German Bundesliga is far better than the French league.
When Chelsea signed Pulisic, he was on the bench. Jordan Sancho actually bent Pulisic.
When Chelsea signed Pulisic, he was one of the best players that just concluded the Gold Cup. In fact, he won the young best player for USA at the Gold Cup that was just concluded. So what are we saying?
Pulisic was signed in January. Then he was on the bench for Borussia Dortmund. Jordan Sancho had already benched Pulisic.
Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means?
No, it means he cannot cut it.
He was initially playing for Dortmund. Instinct should also tell Dortmund that at this point he's been sold. We need to manage him not to sell him being injured to Chelsea. And I think that is why he's not getting as much playing time as Jordan Sancho. Knowing fully well that Sancho is coming to be one of their biggest players come the new season.
He was not injured. Now you're bringing Pulisic from a German league to the English Premier League.
The same way Eden Hazard was coming from the to the English Premier League.
Eden Hazard has been playing quite a number of times for Lille. He was the highest goal scorer in Lille.
And excuse me, I'm not here I'm trying to compare the two players in this case.
In terms of managing these players, Frank Lampard has just failed. Now we are hearing issues that he has issues with David Luiz, and yeah, he played with David Luiz in the Champions League final, and you come into a Chelsea team where you have senior players. These are marquee signings for Chelsea, and they've been there for Chelsea for a very, very long time. And you come inside, and the first thing you do is you're having issues with this kind of players. And you're talking about the Spanish player, and we've heard a lot of time about the players' power happening in Chelsea. And yes, you shipped out one of the biggest players. If you remember last season when Mauricio Sarri wanted to substitute Kepa, David Luiz was the only senior player. Despite the fact that Azpilicueta was on the pitch, David Luiz was the only senior player that went to Kepa and told him to leave the pitch. No. That alone has just...
I think I need to come in. One thing we also need to realize is that in as much as this is inexperience, his inexperience also, displays the experience Marcelo Bielsa. This is a man that is regarded as one of the greatest managers of all time. He's been able to tutor the likes of Pep Guardiola. Guardiola regarded him so much. Yet, he could not defeat an inexperienced Pep Guardiola. So if that is inexperience, then I would love to have an inexperienced in my right.
Today we talked about if the FIFA transfer ban would affect Chelsea's rating this season. And the gentlemen have done great justice, to this particular topic. But here's my final whistle. Time and time again, we see football throwing some spanners in the wheels for some teams and make it quite difficult for them. But if that particular team have the strength in numbers in terms of the mental faculty, in terms of the quality of coaching crew, in terms of some other things that make football teams flourish and prosper on the football pitch, then they can survive. The big question is this Chelsea team as strong as the last Chelsea team that had this kind of issue? Or were they as strong, or are they as strong, beg your pardon, as the Barcelona team in 2014? But one thing is definitely for sure, we're looking forward to hearing your own thoughts on this particular issue, which will be taken next week when we return for another juicy edition of the longest running independent sports show on Nigerian television. Gentlemen, I have to thank you very much for a job well done this beautiful day, and we're looking forward to seeing more of you. Dario Obu.
Thank you very much, but I still insist Chelsea can always do better than even last season.
I like this man. Adamsi?
Thank you, Guerrero, for having me. I just want Dario to know that Chelsea has already shipped out 26 players, 12 on loan, and they've sold a couple of senior players, and I don't see them coming out of this.
All right, so this particular season will say a lot whether this gentleman will be the next Octopus Paul or maybe Octopus Dario or Octopus. Thank you very much for joining us, the whole of Nigeria. We thank you so very much. We will see you again on next week Saturday. Till then, my name is Babajide Guerrero. Take care of yourselves and look after each other. Bye for now.
Oh, lovely ball.